Hello, this is John, welcoming you to the 2024th edition of the Enfield Talking newspaper. Dateline, 29th of October 2015. The readers this week are Ali, Peter and Caroline and me, with Jason on the controls. The items that we will be reading come from our local newspapers, the Enfield Gazette and Advertiser and the Enfield Independent, and are their copyright. Our title music is Country Rock Polka, composed by Pat Prilly, Fernand Bouillon, Harry Brewer, and performed by Jean-Jacques Perret, and is used with his kind permission. Local stories include fears over fears over hours of GP services, the death of a school's deputy head, and the risks of sugar. If you are experiencing any problems receiving your Enfield Talking newspaper, please phone Diane de Jersey on 020 8805 6578. She is your listener's representative and will be pleased to help you. Now Ali will read the first item of local news.
Calls have been made to end a pilot scheme that concentrates out-of-hours GP services for the whole borough at just 2 surgeries. The programme, set up by the Enfield Clinical Commissioning Group, has extended opening hours at Evergreen Surgery in Palmer's Green and Edmonton Green Surgery until 8 p.m, with Saturday opening. According to the Enfield Over 50s Forum, doctors at 23 of 49 surgeries in the borough have expressed their concern about the pilot scheme. Fears have been raised the 2 surgeries are unable to cope with appointments from across the borough. Forum President Monty Meth said, "I fear this 2-surgery opening all hours facility for over 300,000 Enfield residents could be the beginning of the end of the long-standing personal and friendly relationship patients have always had with their local GPs. We have to kill it before it kills us." The scheme aims to provide 15,000 extra appointments for patients, but Mr. Meth claims the money could have been divided between surgeries instead of everyone travelling to 2. He said about 60 to 70% of GP appointments at some surgeries are taken up by elderly people, sometimes frail and disabled, by mothers with young children, and by people with mental health problems. Dragging them to a surgery miles away that they do not know is a grossly unfair imposition and more likely to damage their health than improve it. It undermines the continuity of care we now receive from our own GP. The Forum protested the scheme had been introduced without consulting any patient representative group. Mr. Meth added, "My own surgery is linked to a separate group of doctors in the Enfield Healthcare Network, but my plea to the CCG board to get both groups working together for the good of all patients fell on deaf ears." A doctor who wanted to remain anonymous said he had concerns about the scheme. He said, "I have already had people come back to me saying they could not be seen at one of the surgeries because of overbooking. It's a bit of a mess. The money should be divided up between all surgeries." The scheme has been running since October the 1st and will continue until March 2016. An Enfield CCG spokesman said, "The service is an extension of Enfield GP practices, providing more appointments both in and outside normal opening hours to give patients improved access to GPs. If patients call their practice and are unable to get an appointment to see a GP or want to see a GP outside of normal opening hours, patients will automatically be offered an appointment at one of the hub sites. Patients are also being signposted to this service via NHS 111 or via their own GP practice. The service was developed and co-designed with both Enfield GP networks. The pilot will be evaluated during the life of the service with a view to commissioning a service in future."
Friends of a deputy head teacher who dedicated his life to the education of young people in the borough are calling on those who knew him to get in touch in the wake of his death. John Lawrence, 76, of Clarence Road, Ponders End, died on Monday, October the 19th. He had been suffering from cancer. He taught and was deputy head at Winchmore Primary School, now known as Highfield Primary School, in Highfield Road, Winchmore Hill, from 1971 to 1989. Graham Geel told the Advertiser that the two men had been friends since both were pupils at Tottenham Grammar School in the 1950s and 1960s. He left Enfield and went to study teacher training in Southampton after school, but even when he wasn't living there, we would always go on holiday together, Graham said. The duo set off together for Yugoslavia in 1964, a journey into the European communist bloc that whet their appetites for exploring far-flung places. In the 1970s, we travelled to Bali, Bangkok, Hong Kong, Graham added. He loved travelling, and one year, with another friend, we travelled to Hawaii. He just loved new things and finding out about foreign places and people. Graham said that John's extended circle of friends were devastated when he was diagnosed with prostate cancer last year. But right to the very end, when he was very unwell, he would make the effort to come and meet a small group of friends every week in Enfield town, he said. Although John had retired from teaching, he would still meet ex-pupils whenever he went in the borough. He was a regular customer at Holland and Barrett in Enfield town, and one day he was shopping when the sales assistant recognised him as her former teacher, Graham recalled. He was thrilled that people remembered him so well and so fondly. John also enjoyed journeys closer to home and was a particular fan of the 377 bus, a route he had campaigned to be kept when Transport for London threatened to axe it. It runs between Ponders End and Oakwood Underground Station. Graham wants to let former pupils and his friends know that a provisional date for John's funeral has been set for November the 9th at Enfield Crematorium, Great Cambridge Road at 3 p.m.
A campaign to warn young people of the harm sugar can have on their health was launched by the council this week, as a cafe owner called for it to be treated as a drug in the same way as alcohol or tobacco. The initiative to raise awareness of sugar consumption comes on the back of a report published last week by Public Health England, which, among other measures, recommends a tax on fizzy drinks and snacks high in sugar. With more than a quarter of 5-year-olds in the borough classed as overweight, the council is taking steps to tackle the obesity crisis and the ticking time bomb of diabetes and metabolic disorders linked to sugar. A sugar tax is not something we're pushing for. Our focus is on raising awareness, explained Aneka Kiza, Enfield Council's Cabinet Member for Public Health. But cafe owner Karen Mercer, who runs My Coffee Shop on Platform 1 at Enfield Chase Station in Windmill Hill, and who sells homemade cakes made with natural sugar substitutes, is a strong advocate of a sugar tax. She explains, "It's a controversial subject, but to me it's obvious. Alcohol's a drug and it's taxed. Tobacco's a drug and it's taxed. Sugar is a drug and people ought to treat it like that. We foist sugar on our children, but it doesn't have to be like that. For example, birthday cakes. People can create beautiful sculptures out of fruit, but nature has no marketing budget, whereas food manufacturers can put a well-known cartoon character on a packet and children will immediately want it." Ms. Keysor and Glenn Stewart, Enfield's Assistant Director of Public Health, both admit the council's new campaign will be focused on consumer choice rather than using devolved public health powers to take a tougher stance on how certain stores market their high sugar products. "We're creating awareness and have started with school meals," said Ms. Keysor. "We will set up healthy stalls in libraries and leisure centres so that parents learn about how much sugar is in the products and we'll help them make healthy choices." But Ms. Mercer believes government bodies need to go further if they want to make a difference to the lives of children. Food manufacturers should be more responsible, but they won't be because there's money at stake. That's why the government has to step in to protect people. It's not about being a nanny state. It's about duty of care to children.
Enfield Town's dreams of reaching the first round proper of the FA Cup for the first time in their history, were crushed on Saturday as they were beaten 2-1 at Chesham United in the final qualifying round. First half goals from Curtis Uger and Toby Little left the visitors facing an uphill task, and although Harry Ottaway pulled a goal back late on, it was not enough as Chesham held on for the win. A few of our guys didn't turn up on the day, manager Bradley Quinton admitted. We can play better, but if we had taken the chances we created in the first few minutes, then it could have been different. Full credit to Chesham, because they worked hard on their set pieces. They put the ball in great areas. A couple of our guys didn't mark tightly enough, and we got punished for it. Some of the guys were very upset at the end of the match, but I'm proud of every single one of them for what they've achieved in the FA Cup this season. Town started brightly, but they were unable to turn their early pressure into any goals and fell behind on 18 minutes when Ujar met Dave Pearce's corner with a towering header into the net. Defending set pieces proved a real problem for the visitors throughout the first half, but they were unlucky not to level the scores on 38 minutes when Ricky Gabriel's fierce drive struck the bar. Having survived this major scare, Chesham doubled their advantage in first half stoppage time through a little shot from the edge of the box, which went in off the underside of the bar. Town pushed more men forward in the second half in a bid to get back into the match, but the hosts continued to look the more dangerous side, and only a succession of saves from keeper Nathan MacDonald prevented them from extending their lead. Ottaway gave the visitors some hope by drilling a shot into the bottom corner as the match entered 5 minutes of stoppage time, and the same player had strong appeal for a penalty when he was bundled over in the box 2 minutes later, only for the referee to decide that he had committed the first offence and award Chesham the free kick as they held on for the win. Enfield Town, who returned to Ryman Premier Division X action at home to Hendon last night, entered Leighton Town in the first qualifying round of the FA Trophy on Saturday at 3 p.m. They are then due to visit Kingstonian on Monday, although that match will be postponed if either side are involved in an FA Trophy replay.
A hospice is looking for people with quirky talents to take part in a competition and raise money for their cause. The North London Hospice in Woodside Avenue, Finchley, and Barrowell Green, Winchmore Hill, is giving people a chance to win some money while supporting the work it does. The event will be the hospice's first talent competition. It usually holds a Strictly Come Dancing style competition every year. Acrobatic gymnasts, comedians and pop stars in the making are all eligible to enter. Events and community fundraiser Francesca Barry said, "We are excited to launch this fantastic event. It's something that anyone of any age can try, and it's all for a good cause, raising money for the hospice while having fun at the same time. The only way we can meet the need for our services is by raising funds at events such as this. Please do get in touch if you have a special talent." North London Hospice cares for 1,500 people in Enfield, Barnet and Haringey annually. The competition will be held on Saturday, February the 6th at the Arts Depot in North Finchley. For more information, contact Francesca Barry on 020 8446 2288 or email fbarry@northlondonhospice.co.uk.
Bargain-conscious shoppers queued up for the opening of a new supermarket that has created tens of jobs. The new Aldi supermarket at the A10 Retail Park was opened by Team GB hockey player and Olympic hopeful Simon Mantell. The store has created 48 jobs in the area, and the supermarket is still hoping to recruit more staff. The store served hot Aldi bacon and sausage sandwiches to customers throughout the morning, as well as awarding some shoppers who received golden tickets with prizes. Store manager Shahjahan Miar said, "My team and I very much enjoyed welcoming our new customers to the store. The turnout on the day was fantastic, with 100 people walking away with a prize. We hope the shoppers enjoyed our celebrations, and I would like to thank everyone for their support. We are still actively recruiting for the Enfield store, and I would encourage members of the local community to apply for a variety of roles on offer."
The gardens of Capel Manor have been transformed into the grounds of a creepy manor this week as spooks and ghouls arrive to entertain visitors. The venue's hosting its annual Halloween festival until Saturday, with attractions designed to send a shiver down the spine. Children got the chance to explore the haunted, creepy manor ruins, have a go at carving pumpkins into traditional jack-o'-lanterns, and make their own witches' broomsticks. Youngsters also met animals, including lizards, snakes, terrapins and spiders, in the company of Capel Manor College's student group Team Capel. The venue, in Bullsmore Lane, Enfield, is also screening spooky Halloween films, and there's even a chance to meet ghosts on an adults-only haunted walk at the Manor House tomorrow. On Saturday, young visitors can become little monsters at a face-painting stand and also join in Halloween workshops to make their own spooktacular props. The attractions are free after paying the admission price, which includes entry to the gardens. Tickets cost £5.50 for adults, £4 for children, and £15 for family tickets for 2 adults and up to 2 children.
A choir for young people is launching its Christmas CD, which it recorded with celebrated British composer Dr. John Rutter. The Children's International Voices of Enfield spent 3 days recording Christmas carols with Dr. Rutter, the choir's patron, along with harpist Heather Wrighton. Dr. Rutter is joining the choir on Sunday to help launch the CD, which he produced and edited. The Rutterfest CD includes 11 of his Christmas pieces, as well as music by other composers, and marks the group's Silver Jubilee. The choir runs 6 sections for children and young people aged from 4 to 24 in Enfield. The singers will be gathering at their regular meeting place at Palmer's Green United Reformed Church in Fox Lane between 4 p.m. and 5 p.m. for the launch. Dr. Rutter is celebrating his own 70th birthday with a concert at St Paul's Cathedral next Thursday, November the 5th, when he will premiere a new choral piece, The Gift of Life. He is the composer of a range of choral work, including carols for choirs, Gloria and Requiem. The CD costs £10, with all proceeds going to choir funds.
A vibrant woman who died after being hit by a car has been posthumously honoured after her organs were used to save the lives of 3 people. Nicole Levy of Shrewsbury Road, Bounds Green, was honoured at a ceremony at the Museum of St John in London. The 29-year-old, who worked in media, was crossing the road with her boyfriend in Priory Hill, Hornsey, in January this year when she was hit. But her liver, kidneys and pancreas were given to 3 other people, saving their lives. Her mother, Suzanne, attended the ceremony. She said, "Nicole was beautiful, funny and vibrant. She adored her boyfriend and her family. She was passionate about music, she loved fashion and loved spending time with her friends. We had never discussed organ donation, but we are very glad we consented to donation. It was a decision taken at an extraordinarily difficult time, but although we did take time to think it over, we never really could have imagined not giving our permission. I know how I would have felt if it had been Nicole or someone from my family waiting for a transplant. Finding out Nicole's donation helped save lives was extremely emotional for us all. We see it as a positive, something good that came from such a tragedy, and overwhelmingly the right thing to do." Nicole's family received the award from Stephen Folkes, a member of the Order of St John and Deputy Lieutenant of Greater London. He said, "I am honoured to be making the awards in recognition of all those who helped others in this way."
A health trust which cares for patients in Enfield, has featured in a BBC programme which examined the pressures facing mental health services. Barnet, Enfield and Haringey Mental Health Trust allowed the cameras from Panorama in to look at the experience of patients as they go through the system. The Trust is responsible for a population of 1 million in Enfield and the neighbouring boroughs of Barnet and Haringey, and is a major employer with 2,800 staff. Reporters visited the Trust over several months to see how it spends its annual income of £190 million. The Current Affairs programme wanted to look at the impact the reduction of bed numbers had on healthcare and how staff decided who to admit or send home. A Panorama spokesman said, "We filmed with the nurses as they dealt with the suicidal, aggressive and the isolated in the community, and heard how the system is so overloaded and other support services so decimated that staff feel they often struggle to meet all their patients' needs." Maria Kane, Chief Executive of Barnet, Enfield and Haringey Mental Health Trust, said, "The documentary was a fair portrayal of what it is like for staff on the front line, in acute care, in the community and for the bed management teams facing the pressures of increasing admissions." She thought the programme captured some of the challenge faced by staff and said it put mental health squarely on the national agenda. One of the Trust's clinical directors, Catherine Edelman, said, "Every day we try to provide the very best care for our patients. We help them to recovery." The TV cameras visited patients in the hospital and in the community. Crews also filmed people who were brought in under a Section 136 order, which allows police to take people they believe have mental health problems to a place of safety where they can be detained for up to 72 hours while they get a mental health assessment. Panorama's Britain's Mental Health Crisis was screened recently and is now available on BBC iPlayer.
Will this be the year of my dog? An MP is living in hope. Maybe this year will finally be his year. Many thought that last year. Many thought he had what it takes, but he was no match for a German shepherd named Diesel. And the year before, well, poodles are overrated anyway. In 2012, he'd gone so close, losing out on top spot to Charlie Elphick's Norfolk Terrier Star, a noble and worthy winner by all accounts. But throughout the years, Cholmondeley Burrows has never lost sight of the main prize, and perhaps with his beige coat, veteran stature and rakish charm, he could benefit from the some wave of popular support that saw another unlikely contender with a penchant for digging in allotments sweep to victory earlier this year. David Burrows, Labrador, is once again putting the best of his 4 feet forward in yet another bid to be crowned Westminster's top dog. Unfortunately, the competition does not involve a round where pooches prowl the corridors of power, primed to chase the fat cats out of Parliament. Equally, despite politics being dubbed a dog-eat-dog world, there will be no canine cannibalism on the lawns of Victoria Tower Gardens beside the Houses of Parliament. However, the hounds are expected to have picked up a thing or two from their masters over the years, and there has been widespread campaigning to bag one of the coveted podium spots, with members of the public asked to log on to www.thekennelclub.org.uk/events/Westminster Dog of the Year, all hyphenated, to vote for their favourite four-legged parliamentarian. Mr Burrows, the MP for Enfield Southgate, has not lost faith in his loyal companion, despite the years of defeat at the hands of rival political beasts. And this year, he knows he can capture the popular vote for his pooch. He said, "This competition is all about helping to campaign for responsible dog ownership, both in Enfield and across the country. Cholmondeley needs your votes, so visit my website or the Kennel Club's site to register your support. After that, he just needs to woo the judges with his affectionate, playful and lovable personality, as well as explain how he'll bring about world peace." The figurative dogfight is set to take place on the lawns of Victoria Tower Gardens on Friday.
Now that's rather strange, if I may comment, because whilst that press report says it was taking part on Friday, which is tomorrow as we are recording on Thursday, the result was actually announced on television earlier today. So something strange is going on there in the doggy world. A football hero inspired primary school children with a talk for Black History Month. Ledley King, former Tottenham Hotspur captain and England international defender, spoke to Year 5 and 6 pupils at Bush Hill Park Primary School last Thursday. He was one of a number of speakers to attend the school, which is in Main Avenue, Enfield, and has around 80% ethnic minority students this month. The Spurs club ambassador offered advice for the children as they get set for secondary school. Few other speakers can claim to have had the reception Ledley King had, with the children screaming, applauding, and all wanting to give him a high five as he walked in with a huge smile at their reaction, acknowledging it as the best welcome I have ever had. He spoke to the children for half an hour about his life before, during, and after his career, including when he was their age at Olga Primary School in Mile End. He said, "Life at school was quite tough. I come from a single-parent family, so my mum had to raise me and my brother. It wasn't easy. I was very fortunate to have a good friend whose parents could take me to play football. You have to work hard in school because it's very important to have something after football as well. I retired at 31, and there's a lot of years after 31. It is important to get as many qualifications as you can. I wish I had more. When I was younger, I was quite quiet and shy, and I was always nervous playing football, but I was just myself. I had to be myself when I was Tottenham captain as well. Everyone in the team had to be able to talk to me, and I had to lead by example and show a good work ethic." He also talked about how difficult it was when he was forced to retire with a knee injury in 2012, describing it as a very lonely time, and emphasizing the importance of his family and friends. He also talked about his favourite game of football, whenever we beat Arsenal, and whether he wishes he could still play. He said, "I do miss playing football, but I'm a bit old now at 35, so I'm not sure I'd be very good at it." Bush Hill Park head teacher Anna Theodosio said she was bowled over by the children's reaction to King, who took time after talking to pose for photos and sign autographs for pupil and staff. She said, "It is just phenomenal for them to respond like that. They don't all support Spurs, but to see someone they know and respect for real, it is a big deal. We can stand there as teachers day in, day out, but when it is someone famous, a guest speaker with the same message, it is so much easier. This is about passion, self-discipline, and motivation, that if they have a dream about something, they can achieve it, no matter who you are or your heritage." Of this tape, please stop your machine now, take out the cassette, turn it over, and start side 2.